Welcome to another episode of Equity Mates, a podcast where we explore what is possible in the world of investing. If you've just joined us for the first time today, a massive welcome to the community. Today we are doing a quarterly review of our portfolios. My name is Bryce, and as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you going?
I'm very good, Bryce. Very excited for this episode. This is something we want to do every quarter now, a quarterly check-in, how our portfolios are going, what we've changed, what we've done in the last quarter, and then what we're trying to do for the quarter ahead. And it's with a big thanks to PocketSmith for, I guess, challenging us to do this quarterly episode and for sponsoring it.
Yes.
Now, for people who aren't familiar with PocketSmith, they were founded in New Zealand in 2008. They're an all-in-one personal finance platform from net worth to spend tracking to big personal financial decisions. PocketSmith has it all and can help you plan it all.
Absolutely. You can integrate your superannuation, your bank, your brokers, share site, and more to get a complete financial picture.
So if you'd like to manage your money like a pro, PocketSmith has a special deal for Equity Mates listeners. Get 50% off your first 2 months of PocketSmith's foundation plan. To get your deal, go to pocketsmith.com/equitymates. All right, Bryce.
Love it.
Quarterly review. Here we go.
Yeah.
So, 5 big questions that we're going to cover off, which I set up before, but any changes to our setup, how we're managing our money, what we've done this quarter, what we're doing with the money that we have saved, how much we've been investing, what we've been buying, if we've been investing, and then finally, what are our goals for the next quarter? So let's start with the first question.
Under the spotlight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like a couple of weeks ago that you made me reveal my whole portfolio. So
I didn't make you do shit.
Now I feel unburdened by what has been.
The shackles are off.
So any changes to your personal finance or investing setup for the last quarter? Let's start there.
Nothing major. No wholesale changes, but a few tweaks. So Harriet and I, we review our setup quarterly anyway.
Okay.
Not formally, but like it's just the rhythm we've got into. So we share a number of accounts. We share our groceries, bills and insurance, and some savings accounts. And we've had to tweak what we've put into those because now that we're almost a year into our house, we've got the first lot of rates, we've got the bills, we've got the bits and pieces, and so we've had to adjust that. I've changed the frequency of my DCA into my core from fortnightly to monthly.
Why is that?
Because of changes to the cost of my DCA. Changes to the cost of brokerage, so I had to adjust that. And I've integrated my share site into PocketSmith, so now I can see total view, which I've actually found quite handy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Recommend both platforms, but yeah, PocketSmith has been great for this. What about you?
So one big change, my fiance Alice and I have now got a joint bank account for spending and another one for bills. So we were just doing like separate bank accounts before.
Yep.
So that's a big change. But in terms of how we're managing money, like not a massive change. It'll still be we each get paid and we have automatic transfers to a number of accounts, and now these are just some of those accounts.
Yes.
So we still have personal savings and personal spending accounts as well, but for joint stuff, we'll also be transferring to that every pay. Haven't set up the joint savings or joint investing yet. That might be a future quarter, one thing at a time. I guess we got the joint offset.
Offset,
for the
yes.
mortgage.
Yeah.
But that's probably the big one.
Nice.
So yeah, it's going well so far.
Nice, that's good.
Yeah.
Both have the card. Tap and go.
It's good. Individual cards.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have clear agreements on what can and can't be spent on those accounts?
Nah, well, we're kind of just feeling it out.
Yeah.
But we spoke about it, and it's kind of like you know what's a personal cost and what's a joint cost.
Yeah.
It'll be things
You'll
over.
be putting down the joint card at your box party coming up.
No, that's the corporate card.
Nice.
So it's mainly food and eating, going out and stuff like that at the moment. So that's probably the big change. It's nice,
Yeah,
another step closer together.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. we did that when we got married, and we progressively added a few more things, but started out exactly how you have as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, love it. Okay. How have we been spending and saving our cash this quarter? What's the breakdown?
Yeah. Now, the good thing with PocketSmith is we can put our bank accounts into PocketSmith, and then you can categorize your transactions. You can make your own categories.
Yes.
If for long-time Equity Mates listeners, they may remember a gripe I had with another platform that made you use like these nebulous, poorly defined, unhelpful categories, and you couldn't make your own.
Yeah.
So this was a big relief for me that I could make my own categories.
All the way down to like golf as a category, so we can see how much we're spending on golf.
Even with subcategories. So like eating out is the headline category, and that's Uber Eats or just like when you go out to eat, just like all that extra spending on food.
Yeah.
But then there's this one Vietnamese place that Alice and I really love that I made a specific subcategory just to see how much we were spending there.
Nice.
And I was
it alarming or was it good?
No, I actually expected it to be more. So
nice.
I went in, I was actually pretty happy with that.
Good.
So,
well, that is the level of detail and I guess microscopic view you can take on your transactions, but tell us what PocketSmith is telling you about your spending.
Yeah, so to give you, I'll talk in percentages. These are rough and like sort of rolled up categories, but about 43% of my fortnightly pay after tax goes to my mortgage, 15% to groceries and eating out, so food broadly defined, 20% to saving and investing, about 15% to subscriptions and bills, and then a remaining 7% miscellaneous. Some months I was good and saved that money. Other months I spent it on random stuff. And the mortgage payment includes like things like strata as well. Housing costs broadly defined. Yeah. So
anything surprising in there for you or you're happy about?
Oh, it always feels bad when I see 43% of my money goes to the mortgage. What's that thing where it's like you should be paying 30% of your take-home pay for housing? And then I just remind myself that it's unrealistic. The idea, especially if we live in Sydney. So that one always stands out. I feel pretty good, like 20% saving and investing. I feel pretty good about it.
Nice.
There's certainly things I can improve, but yeah. What about you?
So for me, PocketSmith tells me, mortgage is 30%.
Oh, okay. So after that whole spiel about how no one in Sydney could get 30%, Mr. Perfect over here.
But let me be very clear. Let me be very clear on this, that the way that our loan is structured is that there's some being taken out of an offset account and some that Harriet and I put in. And
why are you doing it that way?
Just because we have a lump sum sitting in the offset account.
You don't want to keep the offset as high as possible, and
we do, and that you'll see. We put money into it.
Doesn't that mean that at some point the offset will be fully drawn down, and you're going to have to increase the amount?
Yes.
From your take home.
Yes.
And what, you're just banking that you'll be earning more by then?
Well, two things. The drawdown on it was a number of years, so we'll be okay for that.
Yeah.
And secondly, you can then refinance. So, essentially, like, when you've paid off X equity or whatever, you go and then refinance down to actually what the remaining amount is. So rather than your repayment being X, you go refinance and bring your repayment down.
Oh, and so it's like you might have...
And then you do another 30-year loan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And so you bring it back down,
Geez, must be nice having a big lump sum to draw down. Right?
Anyway, let's move on. So 30% mortgage, 11% groceries, eating out subscriptions, 11% on bills and insurance, gyms, bits and pieces. I have 10% that I just have as my spending a fortnight. So that's beers, work, lunch, just kind of what you do. It's just like, this is what I have left after all my transfers go out. This is remaining. Go for it. If there's some left, great. If that gets to zero, that's fine as well.
It's like the non-disciplined account. It's like, if there's money in here, I can spend it, knowing that I've like limited myself in the structure of it.
Exactly. And then 38% is split between saving and investing.
38%.
Yeah. But to be fair, similar to you with your 7%, like some of that, if we have a bucks coming up or a wedding or whatever, like I'll draw out of that to pay the 300 that you do when you go to a wedding or the bits and pieces. So like it's not a true 38% because I reckon...
You're doing $300 gifts at a wedding.
Between two.
Okay.
Between
yeah,
two.
I feel that's
Between
150
two,
is
yeah.
kind of like the
Per head.
that's what you're expecting.
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
these
I'll probably
days.
bump it up a bit for yours, but that's all right. So that's what PocketSmith tells us when we break it all down.
That would be an interesting subcategory to do. Wedding costs.
Yeah.
Like not organizing a wedding and those costs. That would be
what you pay to go to weddings.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know if I'd want to look at that.
Yeah.
Especially when you hit wedding season. But good news is PocketSmith, you could definitely make that a category
You could.
and see how it ebbs and flows over the years. So let's talk about our the money that we're saving and investing and what we're actually doing with it, how we're allocating it. How do you take that sort of 20 to 30%?
So I took that and then I calculated where it was going, and about a bit less than a quarter goes into cash savings. So I just put more into my emergency fund each pay, which is a high interest savings account. And then about 3/4 of it goes into investing. The majority of that goes into my core portfolio, which is like set up, automated, so I don't really touch it or anything. And then a little bit of that goes into I just call it like satellite, which is like a savings account that then when I see an opportunity, I put it in this or that. What about you?
So the biggest change for us this quarter has actually been what we're allocating to the offset. So about 60% of what we're saving and investing is going into the offset now. You look at what it's saving in terms of interest and after-tax returns, it's reasonably compelling. 28% I'm putting into the market, and then 12% goes into our joint savings, high interest savings account. We want to put more into it because we know over the coming years we might want to do something to the house or actually have some savings in there to be able to take out again without it impacting the repayment on the house.
You might
makes sense.
You might renovate the guest house or something like that.
Put a new roof on.
So hold on. Okay, so your financial setup is a little bit confusing. So you allocate 30% to the mortgage.
60%.
No. From your original spending each pay.
Yeah.
30% goes to the mortgage and 38% goes to saving and investing.
Yeah.
But then 60% of that 38% actually goes to the mortgage.
Well, it sits in the offset.
Isn't that how you pay your mortgage though? Doesn't it just get direct debited from the
offset?
offset?
It does. But what I mean is like we could not do that and service the loan fine. If that makes sense. Yeah. We kind of see the money that we're putting in as like as
an investment.
an investment.
I get that. It's just it was probably worth clarifying because you've got a convoluted way of thinking about
well, that is how I separate it in my mind. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like I want to like.
So actually, almost 50% of your take-home pay goes into the offset every month, because it's like 60% of 38%, call it about 20%, and then 30% goes to the mortgage. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, because I at the moment the interest that our loan's 6.01% or whatever, so that after-tax return on that. I'm happy to sit there.
Definitely. Yeah, you don't need to justify that. Yeah. I'm enjoying this. This is good from PocketSmith. We've never gone this deep on each other's finance setups, I think.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that's how
what else are we gonna find?
That's how we do it. I do sometimes toss and turn about are we maximizing what we're putting in the stock market now when we don't have we don't have the kids. Yeah. We have the cash flow to be able to do it, but Harriet's also investing in the stock market, and I think, I'm comfortable that what's not going in is still going into something that is financially astute, I guess is the right word.
Probably not worth tossing and turning at night over it, bro. I think you're doing all right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a quick break here and say a big thanks to PocketSmith. As well as their personal finance platform, they also have a global spending map. Now, this aggregates and anonymizes data of their hundreds of thousands of users around the world to give an idea of how the world is spending.
Yeah, it is fascinating. So here's a fun fact. From June 2024 to July 2024, there was a 30% rise in Uber Eats expenses amongst their Australian users, from $182 to $260 a month. Over the same period, there was a 4% decrease in spend on groceries in Australia, from $903 to $864 a month. That is fascinating.
Yeah, and I would actually be interested to know how much of that increase in Uber Eats spending and decrease in grocery spending is actually people just buying groceries through Uber Eats. Because that certainly has seen a big uptick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
This is the analysis you can do. You can do it yourself. It's publicly available. You don't have to be a member. Just Google PocketSmith Global Spending Map and you can have a look at their anonymized and aggregated data.
Yeah.
And if you want to join thousands of Australians managing their money like a pro, PocketSmith has a special deal for Equity Mates listeners. Get 50% off your first 2 months of PocketSmith's foundation plan by going to pocketsmith.com/Equity Mates.
Love it. Well, let's turn to the portfolio side of things, our investing. We've gone through sort of what our cash and where it's going, but how are you investing? Where are you actually putting that 77%? What have you done the last quarter?
Yeah, now this will be a little bit of a rehash of my full portfolio reveal we did a couple of weeks ago. So I'll just get through it quickly and then we'll get to you. So the majority of that, you know how I said it was like 3/4 of the money that I was saving and investing went to investing. The majority of that went into my core portfolio, which is automated. 5 ETFs make up the core portfolio. Equal allocations each fortnight to all 5.
Yeah.
An Australian ETF, a S&P 500 America ETF, a mainland Europe ETF, an Asia ex-Japan ETF, and a UK ETF. The UK one for me is the one where I'm like, that might get the chop at some point.
Because of performance.
Anyway, separate just like you want to be like, what's the UK's future
offering?
prospects? Yeah.
What's it offering? Yeah.
And I know like part of the reason you do a globally diversified core is you capture growth wherever it comes from. But the UK is just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, different conversation. Sorry to our UK listeners. But
I completely agree. That's why I don't have it.
If you're in the UK, you know.
Yes.
You're putting more in America than you are in the UK.
Definitely. Yeah. Anyway.
So that's my core. And then on the satellite side, I also dollar cost average a little bit into Bitcoin and Ethereum each fortnight. Again, it's just like I don't want to think about it, but I want to have some exposure to it.
Equal amounts?
To those two cryptos? Yeah. And so that's just automated again, set and forget, automatic transfer from my bank to a crypto broker. Buy. My NAB equity builder repayments continue to get direct debited each month.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just part of the investing bucket as well. So don't think about that. Just that keeps going.
Have you thought about just paying that out?
I don't feel like I need to right now.
So that comes out of the 77%?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I also would need to pull money from other places that I don't want to now.
Yeah. Tax deduction, I guess.
Tax deductible, the interest payments.
Yeah.
The rate of return is still good and like the repayments aren't prohibitive.
Ball breaking, yeah.
And then finally some individual stocks. That's just opportunistic when things arise. I bought some more Axon, which is one of my bigger positions. And then I bought some more ResMed after Apple announced their updates to the Apple Watch, where they'll have a sleep apnea tracker. The biggest challenge in sleep apnea is underdiagnosis. Hopefully Apple can chip away at that. So separate conversation, but
Apple buys ResMed. Apple creates their own sleep apnea product.
That would not be good. That's what I've done.
Nice. What about me? So, as I said, integrated share site, which is the portfolio tracking platform that I used into PocketSmith. So now I get a full view of everything. Still haven't integrated my superannuation though. That's the next step. But what I've done this quarter was I finished consolidating my portfolio. So I'm done with selling positions that I no longer want. And I've reallocated that money into a few things, but mainly similar to you, Ren. I have 4 ETFs that I dollar cost average into monthly. 2 are geared. One is Gear, BetaShares Gear, GEAR. It's Australian market geared, and then GJust, which is the US equity market geared. And then I've got VEQ, which is Vanguard's Europe. It's slightly different to yours, Ren, in that it includes the UK. So, it includes it. Yeah, so it's all Europe.
That's compelling.
Yeah, not a huge weighting.
That might be the change that I'm looking for.
Gives you exposure.
Consolidate my mainland Europe and my FTSE into one.
Yeah. something to think about.
Don't miss out on the UK, but it has to keep up with the rest of Europe.
Keep up with the rest, yeah. What else have I done? I've made a second investment into Fairlight, which was our listed. I was going to wait until end of year, but I just did it anyway. And I bought a bit of Mineral Resources recently. Otherwise, my superannuation, we manage our super through Superhero. Yep. And so we have full control of where that's invested in equities. It's not a full self-managed super. And you can split it between default, positions and direct equities. They've now increased what you can split into your compulsory elements. Before it was just high growth, diversified, or the classics.
Yeah. Balanced, conservative growth.
Thank you. But now there's a lot more options. So I've actually split my super more towards the default options because I'm happy with it. You can create more of a core portfolio in there. So I've got Aussie shares, international shares that it's just spitting into more regularly. Cool. Yeah. And then we'll use the other 50% to now start bringing in some of the active managers that you talk about once they're listed and a few other direct positions. So that's a big focus for me coming up this quarter, actually.
Getting your super right.
Getting my super right, yeah. It's getting to a size now where you can start...
Must be nice.
You know what? We've been working for 15 years. Where you can really start making some decent, chunky investments.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it sounds like our Super September messaging has got through to you.
Absolutely. So I'm going to carry this beyond September. This will be a super quarter for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, hopefully the changes you make in Super September last you the rest of your life.
That is a very fair point.
We take action in September. All right. So we had one final question that we wanted to cover. So just to recap where we are, we spoke about any changes to our actual setup. Then we spoke about what we did in the past quarter in terms of what we spent, how much we saved and invested, and then where we invested. So I guess the final question is now looking ahead and thinking about the next quarter. Do you have any financial or investing goals for the coming quarter?
Yes. So I'm still on the journey of closing out my life insurances. If you'd been tuning into the show, I reckon 4 months ago, I sat down with Phil from Sky Insurance to talk about the advice I'd been given. That is still ongoing. I want to close it out. I need to get my TPD, income protection, etc. I need to get that done. And as I said there, Ren, turn attention to optimizing my superannuation fund for the direct investment components. I feel like I set it up about a year ago and it's all a bit higgledy-piggledy. A lot of overlap. So I need to sort that out and I want to feel good about that. Then thinking about looking at actually getting some financial advice on things like debt recycling and all the things we've been learning about. It's tantalizing. And so I want to know, can we do it?
Yep.
Without having to pay the $5,000 to do it. So I don't know how I'll manage that.
You'll probably just try and leverage your position at equity.
Probably. I'll just ask questions when they come on the show. And then one stock I'm interested in, yet to pull the trigger, but was thinking about getting them on the show, is Catapult. We've spoken about a lot.
I've been speaking to their investor relations team.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, let's do that because, I'm kind of interested, but need to ask them a few more questions. Okay. What about yourself? You've got a big quarter coming up.
Yeah, I have a big financial quarter coming up. We have Alice and I getting married in December, and then obviously bit of a honeymoon after that. So just get through the next quarter without blowing the budget. Weddings are expensive in news that is surprising to no one. So that's it.
Nice.
Saving and investing hopefully continues. Hopefully the automated stuff just keeps ticking away and I don't need to draw on that. But to the extent that I do, it's just, get through it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It only happens once.
That's
it. Yeah, it's exciting.
Nice. Well, I'll certainly be contributing my $300 between Hannah and I towards that. So
nice.
Now, a massive thank you to PocketSmith for supporting this episode, for challenging us to do our quarterly review and going under the hood in a bit more detail. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you get a lot out of PocketSmith if you do sign up to do your own quarterly check.
Yeah, that's it. Join us and do a quarterly check-in using the PocketSmith platform. Integrate your superannuation, your bank accounts, your brokers, share site, whatever you've got, and get the complete financial picture.
That's it. Now, one more fun fact before we go that has come from their global spending map. A recent report from the Australian Actuaries Institute shows that fast-rising home insurance premiums have plunged 1.6 million households into affordability stress. Now, their spending map backs this up, showing an 8% increase in insurance spending from July 23 of $382 a month to July 24 of $417 a month. So I'm certainly feeling that we're about to get our home insurance renewed, and it's not looking pretty.
Well, that's a conversation for our next quarterly check-in. But if you would like to manage your money like a pro, PocketSmith has a special deal for Equity Mates listeners. Get 50% off your first 2 months of PocketSmith's foundation plan. To get your deal, go to pocketsmith.com/equity.
Equity Mates! I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.